Hi, everybody. Welcome. This is GeekFest, and we are really happy to be here with you because we are talking about the film The Coolest Club. And we have the director with us, Sheng Ting Shen, who is better known as Sandy Shen. Sandy, welcome to GeekFest.
Hi everyone, I'm the director and writer for The Coolest Club. The Coolest Club is a short film that I did during the pandemic, and it's a story about a group, a support group, and the main protagonist is challenged by his club member who is all quote unquote social, not socially accepted. And the film, the process is him trying to win the people's recognition because to prove himself is cool enough to be in the group. So that's a story.
It's a great film. I'm going to hand it off to Rob to ask you some questions right off the bat.
Sandy, welcome to GeekFest. And I got to congratulate you on 3 GeekFest nominations. We're talking Best Short Film, Best Thesis Film, and Best Actor. So congratulations for those nominations.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited.
Well, you should be. So right out of the gate, my question is, I see you also wrote this piece. So please share with us, where did this concept come from?
So like it can trace back to I remember 2018. I really want to write a piece that start with a group of people in one space, and our main protagonist is being challenged by other people. So the story came from my life back then was like I don't know what to do. I was a little bit lost, and I feel like when we are lost, what we keep doing is try to impress other people to make ourselves more worth it in front of our other people. That's what I thought it was self-identity back then. So in the film, I wanted to show a little bit more extreme and dark side of that feeling, and also blend in some comedic things inside the film, and to try to show it's an unending cycle of keep trying to impress other people and find your self-worth from impressing other people. So that's how the film started.
Thank you for explaining, Sandy. I think you achieved all and more there, quite frankly. You know, when watching the film, I couldn't help think that is there possibly some social media undertones, how ultimately some people can kind of hide behind their characters, their channels, and live kind of a separate life as well, too. Did you have those intentions for this film as well?
I think that's a really interesting take. My take in this film is mostly like video games. I feel like that's a huge part, playing the video games, the violence, the feeling of winning something, and that's how our main protagonist Simon gained his recognition of feelings from the video game, but he is not able to gain in real life. So what you said about the social media might play a little bit part, because we hide behind the games, behind the social media, but in the real world, maybe we are not feeling as much accepted as we wanted to be. Yeah.
Well, you reference video games, and I'll tell you that becomes more and more evident as we work our way through the film. I would say halfway, if not 3/4 of the way through the film, where we're kind of flipping back and forth from kind of real day in the life live action to characters in a video game, including some of the coolest club members as well too. So I thought that was a very interesting mix of flipping back and forth. So, as I understand it, this is a thesis film. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's my master degree thesis film.
Well, Sandy, I've got to tell you, this film has significant production values. So, what I'm curious about are two things: size of crew, and did you get help funding wise from the school?
To answer your first question, the size of the crew, because it's during pandemic, so obviously the crew was minimum, and we need to work what we have. We're in different hats, so the size of the crew, we film throughout 4 to 5 days, and like each day is around 10 to 15 people, depends on the location, and the main location is a basement. The basement is a huge basement, so we have more crew, like I would say close to 15 to 20 if I remember it correctly. So it's it's a small crew, but it's everyone is wearing different hats. And to answer the second question, the school didn't help for funding that much, but they did help to provide equipment and stuff. So I'm still really grateful for that. Yeah, and within the crew there are a lot of classmates. So everyone, and even it's not classmates, people are interested in the story and are willing to help just because they are interested in the story. So I'm really grateful for that. Yeah.
Sandy, let's talk about the cast now. So one of the three nominations that you have received from GeekFest includes Best Actor. That would be Guy, of course. And I just got to tell you that all of the characters had very specific roles. It appeared they kind of lived in their own worlds, for lack of a better term. You've got Simon, living a normie, normal, mundane life with his job, and others as well. To walk us through that casting process, and quite frankly, how did you meet Guy?
So it's like you said, like I would say the four main characters are all very distinctly different. So finding the casting process is actually quite interesting. I remember I cast four of them at the same time. Like I have casting session at the same time, and I know Guy from the start that I want him. I know from the start that he's the guy I'm looking for. Just by his personality and how he see the script, and he really understand what I'm looking for. So Guy is a easy find. I found him easily, and the rest of the three are all very different. And I wanted to like almost like, for example, Andy, the drug dealer. I wanted to almost be a beyond crazy kind of guy. And like I remember it's during COVID, we are not able to do that much in-person casting. I feel like my casting was all online. So I remember pairing Guy with like different, I just want to see the dynamic. So like there are two casting session with four of them, three other people, and like just to see the dynamic. And I'm really lucky the in the end the result of other three members are, I like it. It's for me it's actually quite easy because they show what they are in person as well. Like they are who they are almost in person as well. And I remember first time meeting them, four of them in person when we have a rehearsal session. I was like, oh my God, this is such a great cast, and I'm really happy for my decision. Yeah.
So, unless I'm mistaken, much of the film appears to be shot in studio. What were your most challenging aspects of getting this film completed?
It's not in a studio. It's in a real basement. It's a basement under a church in Brooklyn, New York. The challenge, there might not have that much challenge. It's a big space. The only challenge we have is how to light it correctly because it's such a big space. And also the blood because it's the floor is like concrete floor. We cannot like have any blood on the floor. So that's the only challenge. And this is the first time I work with blood, like how to make it realistic. And we have a really good art director, a production designer help us like find the right texture of the blood. I remember during when we are filming, there are outside blending blood with a blender, like blending different kind of sorts of mixture to do the blood. So that's one. Oh, okay. There's also one interesting challenge that we end up fail is like so in the film we have a character whose name is Andy. He's like a sex toy expert, and in the film I really wanted a shelf of like full of sex toys, and obviously we don't have the budget for that, so we trying to make it ourselves, to mold it ourselves. And I remember we bought all the silicone mold and something, try to mold it ourselves in the afternoon in New York, one of our in our production designer's house, and it failed. And so we end up cannot make a shelf of sex toys, but in the end I'm still happy for what we have.
Yeah. So, with respect to filmmakers, who inspires you? What other directors, writers? What's your source of inspiration?
So I think for this film is quite clear. Like my source of inspiration is Edgar Wright, and like mostly like he is such a good filmmaker and director and writer of using um visual language to really showcase the comedic elements. And I'm still learning. Like he's such a like Edgar Wright is such a good person on doing that. And I remember when he was doing Scott Pilgrim, he also incorporated a lot of animation in it. So that's where all my animation inspiration comes from as well.
Got it. Sandy, I did take a moment to go to your website, and of course, I do see the background not only from a directorial, but production, producing, first AD, editing. And I did notice Hugo in the Pigpen. And it looks like you're in development with that currently, and it also appears to be an animation. Is that correct?
It's not gonna be an animation. It's gonna be a fully CGI film. This film is written by my writing partner. And I will be directing and producing it. But this is so, as you know, like CGI is such a huge budget film, and this is a feature film. So it's live action with a pig head with a human body named Hugo. So it's gonna be a really high budget film. So we are still seeking for funding, and we are still seeking for like development and stuff. But we already have the script, and because of that film, we got into a lot of project market to pitch our story. But it's still in progress.
Got it. Okay, one more question. I promise that'll be it. You had referenced video games prior, in terms of some of those scenes where we've got Simon, who's kind of going into the video game world. Do you play yourself?
So fun fact, I won't say I'm a video game nerd at all. Like I don't play that much. I used to play a lot of Halo and GTA, but the kung fu scene is mainly out of my imagination. So I won't say I'm a video game nerd or something. I don't play that much, but I inspired by that.
Well, I have to tell you, in the film, it sure made us feel like we were in games. So, congratulations on that. Sandy, I'm now going to pass you back to our MC Thomas for further questions.
Hi, Sandy. I wanted to say that the film has so many great details in it that you almost forget. You almost are distracted from how beautiful the story is, in my opinion. I don't know, maybe I'm drawing something out of it. So first, I wanted to mention the sound. The sound is just really, really well done. How did that happen? Did you work on that? I see you have sound editors, and I see you have some popular songs in the credits. Talk a little bit about sound design.
So I am really lucky. Like I found a really experienced sound designer, and he's very experienced, and like all his portfolio is almost like zombie film, or like I think that's also what he's really interested in as well. So I talked to him about the project. I showed him the rough cut where we are still doing coloring, and he jumped into it and said that he's really interested. And I feel like sound design plays such a huge part in this film, and I'm really glad that you mentioned that, because I really want to shout out to my sound designer. His name is David Finup, and he brought up a dialogue editor, because in the basement when we recorded, there's a lot of reverb, so it's a lot of work with sound. The music, I chose it myself, but the sound designer really amped up all the film. I don't know. There's a subtle detail, like before Simon lied about he killed someone, the sound in the basement is different from after he lied. So there's a subtle difference, and I think my sound designer really pay a lot of attention into that. So yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, and you had mentioned a new project that you're working on. How do you pick your projects? How do you fall in love with a project? What excites you about your projects? Especially what excited you about this story to pursue this one, and what excites you about your next one?
So I really am interested in genre films, in more more, I would say, fantasy and slash thriller kind of film. And Hugo and the Pigpen is definitely in that realm. It's about a pighead with a human body trying to fit into the world. But I feel like all the film I'm interested in or I am involved in, even it's not a genre film, it talks about like social things, like how do we fit into this world? How do we find our self identity in this world? Whether it's like I'm producing two films right now. One is trying to navigate themselves in the U.S. As an Asian person, the cultural differences, and another film I'm producing is more like trying to find love and trying to find self identity in a world that's it's a lesbian film. So try to find their self identity in the world that doesn't really recognize them as a whole. So I think I'm really drawn towards all this kind of film, and I'm really drawn. I'm really into genre films. I think that's how I pick project. If it's exciting, feel like film in the end, even there's always something to tell. I would want the film to be exciting, to excite me and excite the audience. Yeah.
Well, I see a pattern because in this film, the protagonist essentially is looking for acceptance. I almost felt sorry for him at the end because he looked so pitiful that he was so proud that he had somehow done this and somehow was able to fit in. And I loved how you picked really first class actors. They can all act really, really well, and you just look at them and you're like, oh. I got one more question before I hand it back to the moderator, and I seem that I have to look for it. But
Oh, good.
are you staying in New York, and do you find creating films in New York to be easier, harder? Do you have any ambitions to move out west or someplace else?
I love New York. New York is such a place for independent filmmaking. There are a lot of people willing to jump onto projects just because they are interested in the story, and like it's a place for really micro budget storytelling, and it provides a lot of opportunity to meet people. In the future, I do really want to move west. Again, Los Angeles is still the entertainment city. So that's where all the big budget things happen. But before then, I'm really enjoying New York, and I really enjoy creating story here as well. And as for my background, I'm born and raised in Taiwan. So like Hugo and the Pigpen will be actually is a Taiwanese film actually. So combining the background of my Taiwanese background and New York, I feel like it's generating a lot of new content. But in the future, maybe to the West.
So Hugo and the Pigpen will be in Chinese. It'll be shot
Yeah, it will
in
be Mandarin. It's a Taiwanese film. Whether if it's gonna film in Taiwan, it's to be determined based on the funding situation. But it's a Taiwanese film. It's a Taiwanese story.
So how do you start a project like this? You have an idea and then you wind up talking to a few people, and then where does it go from there?
So, like I mentioned, this is a project that I have with my writing partner, and writing partner, I know her for like almost 10 years. She is based in Taiwan, and she's a writer in Taiwan. So that's how I get all the connection from Taiwan because of her. And we push this project like this is such a Hugo and the Pigpen is such a innovation story, if I may say. So it got into a lot of project market. This story got seen by a lot of people, but because of the scale, it's a CGI film. It's hard even from government's help from Taiwan. So putting this project on pause right now, still slowly developing, but I like I'm really looking forward to make this film.
Yes, well, we're looking forward to seeing it. I'm going to pass it off to our moderator who has a few questions, I believe, from the staff.
Hey, thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Rob, and Sandy. Thank you so much. That Brooklyn basement, I've been there for my Overeaters Anonymous group for sure.
And that is a famous basement.
It is a famous basement.
I want a quick shout out to the basement owner. Like he because again we have low budget, so but he really provide us the space with the minimum budget because he supports creative in New York. So I feel like that's why a lot of people know about the basement.
It was very interesting to hear that you are inspired by Edgar Wright. I mean, he's so well known. Shaun of the Dead, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, Baby Driver. I mean, he doesn't stick to a genre. He also directs music videos. Do you have any interest in directing music videos as well?
I actually directed like 2 music video. I like it. I feel like every sort of storytelling style will be really like I am like really into it. I don't have that much experience of like I don't have that opportunity to really work with a lot of music artists. But yeah, if I have a chance and I can create a storyline based off that story, that would be really excited.
Please give a shout out to the sound fella.
So his full name is David Finup. It's Fienup, but he is amazing. Like he is such a good like genre film sound designer. So shout out to him.
If you could give a shout out to your production design team.
Of course. So my production designer is Bria Joseph. But she is amazing. She crafted designed the studio space, the Simon's apartment space. But I really also want to shout out to all my crew. I feel like, as I mentioned, like it's such a small crew. Sometimes we just use what we have, and the basement is such a big scene to craft production design. So I also want to shout out to my co-producer Aura. Like there's a scene where the Andy, the sex toy expert, when he's introduced, there's a mannequins in his bag. It's all done with our crew. They do it on the spot because I think it's not dynamic enough, so they just find things in the basement. Again, shout out to the basement because they have tons of prop. The bathtub is also from the basement. So I think it's for production design. Our production designer did an amazing job, but also the crew really brings everything together. So it's shout out to all my crew.
You edited the film, and pardon me if I missed hearing this, but did you tell us how long it took for you to edit the film?
No, I haven't, but because again it's a thesis film, so if I couldn't really spend like years of editing it, which doesn't make sense. But it took me, so the editing process is around, I would say 3 to 4 months, maybe more, maybe 5 months throughout the semester. I was an editor before I came to the US, and for me, editing is really quick and easy. The thing that's more different is there are like graphic and animation in it, and that's not my expertise. So I need to learn a lot about graphics still. And shout out again to my graphic designer and art and post art department. Like they help me a lot. And one of us is actually my roommate. So I have a group of people that's really talented. Yeah. So it takes about like 5 months, I say.
I do have our final question. What have you learned about yourself through the making of your film, The Coolest Club?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think what I learned about myself is I think I'm really good at producing film. But I also I feel like for this film, what I learned is I feel like there are still parts in the story that I wanted to do better and really focusing on it, and working on the micro budget where you have to do everything is a little bit hard. So what I learned about with my next film is if I'm directing, I will find a really good producer, a really good first AD, and so I can actually focusing on creating the story. But that's what I learned.